What up, guys? Mitchell Coleman here. I am an alcoholic, and I have your daily reflections for January 3rd, 2021. This one is titled Powerless. All of January, by the way, goes off of step one, which is admitted we were powerless over alcohol and that our lives had become unmanageable. And I've said this before, I'm sure a lot of people know this, but I still think it's cool. Like each month is based on one of the steps. So we got 12 months, 12 steps. This one is powerless. We admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. 12 steps, 12 traditions, page 21. It is no coincidence that the very first step mentions powerlessness. An admission of personal powerlessness over alcohol is a cornerstone of the foundation of recovery. I've learned that I do not have the power and control I once thought I had. I am powerless over what people think about me. I am powerless over having just missed the bus. I'm powerless over how other people work or don't work the steps. But I've also learned that I am not powerless over some things. I am not powerless over my attitudes. I am not powerless over negativity. I am not powerless over assuming responsibility for my own recovery. I have the power to exert a positive influence on myself, my loved ones, and the world in which I live. This one's really cool, and it's a lot to do with how we see things and the control that we feel we have over everything, when in actuality we don't have control over much of anything other than ourselves. We can't control situations, but we can control how we react to them and how we let them affect us. And that's very pivotal to an addict or just anyone in general, because we can really try to control things. A lot of addicts are control freaks, and our egos are also very big. So we kind of want to control situations, and if they don't go the way we want, then we can use it as an excuse to go drink or something. We can use it as an excuse that person doesn't care about us or whatever. We can make up any excuse really to go drink. So that's kind of a dangerous thing. So we're not in control of that, and that's why the serenity prayer is so important. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So we need to have the wisdom to know the difference of the things we can't change. We are in control of our recovery, though. We can choose who we're going to be around. We can choose if we want to let something affect us. We can choose if we want to deceive ourselves into thinking anything is a reason to go drink again. There is no reason to go drink. There is no reason to go use. And this also brings up a thing to me where when they say powerless over alcohol, it's not just alcohol. We're powerless over a lot of other things. Typically, we didn't just drink alcohol. And we're really good, because I did this the very first time I went through rehab. I talked to the counselor a lot, and I didn't tell him quite everything. And by the time I left, he said, you were just depressed. You weren't really an alcoholic. An addict loves hearing that. So also, I went through that. I stayed sober, but I was still smoking weed for like 2 years. So that's not really sobriety. I mean, it's not, if you look at it. Yes, you're recovered from alcohol, but are you still powerless over the other things? If you weren't, you'd be able to stop that too. And I used to think that that's almost like judgment, but it's not, because you're not truly recovering if you're still using other things, other mind-altering substances. You're still not recovering. You're not facing whatever made you abuse the alcohol in the first place, because it's not just the physical addiction to it. There's reasons we were doing it. There was other reasons. Mine was anxiety, and there's a lot of stats that show that you're gonna most likely end up relapsing again because you're not staying sober. And a lot of people will use the weed thing as, well, it's good for you, it's got medicinal purposes. There's a lot of things you can get that will give you the same stuff that weed would give you. That's almost just a self-deception again, and making an excuse for why you're doing it. And start noticing when you're doing it. Why are you doing it? For fun? Are you doing it because you're stressed? Are you doing it because you want to drink? And all those reasons are pretty lame, really. I mean, I guess for fun, I guess life isn't that fun. But anyway, if you're using it, like, say, because you want to drink, that's weird because you've already gotten over the drink part. Now you're just smoking. Did you ever spend any time in actual recovery and doing inventory on yourself and figuring things out? I mean, if it was really the case for something like that, they would have rehabs where you can go smoke weed. You could smoke weed to get off of stuff. Like, this is going to help you. And maybe they do, you know, I don't know. But also another thing, people could be like, well, it's legal. Well, so is alcohol. Alcohol is legal. Just because weed's legal doesn't mean it's good for you. You know, there's purposes that it is good. They have studies and whatnot. But for an addict, that's just not smart. I mean, it's just kind of weird. So you just haven't started recovery. It's kind of the same as saying, you know, what we do when we're drinking and we go from, well, I'm just not going to drink hard liquor anymore because that was my problem. I'll just drink beer. We all know where that will lead, and it's going to do the same thing with other drugs too. You know, there's all these correlations between all the drugs, and they've done the studies over a long time now, a long period of time. They know these studies, you know, the stats show it's not 100%, just like anything's not 100%. But, you know, I can vouch for myself knowing that I had truly not got sober, and I was smoking weed still. And that is what helped me not drink. But really, I was smoking weed all the time. So I'd replaced alcohol with weed. And eventually, I went and drank again because I was just stoned all the time. You know, I wanted to get drunk, and something happened that triggered my brain to give me that excuse to go drink again. And it most likely is going to happen. And there's so many reasons that can happen, you know. We're powerless over that. And that's where also you have to realize you're powerless over relationships per se, because that could be a big issue why people relapse. That's why they say don't get in relationships immediately. If you're already in them, it's fine, because I am and I was and at the time. But we are really supposed to be focusing that time on getting ourselves better and focusing on our recovery. And if you're not even in your right state of mind, you're not focusing on your recovery. Plain and simple. It's just self-deception. And your best chance at recovery is total abstinence. I mean, do whatever you want, but I mean, give life a chance. If you're still doing drugs, you're not really sober. It just is what it is. If you still can't go get a job somewhere because you have, you know, you're not sober. You're doing something. It just is what it is. Unless you are, you know, maybe you're the exception. Maybe you're the very rare case of the person that won't ever go back to drinking alcohol. But if you're smoking weed, I don't know. But maybe you are that insanely rare case, and maybe it isn't just your misguided ego falling for the deception of a cunning and baffling disease. And that's what alcoholism is. That's what addiction is. You just got to be careful. I mean, we will trick ourselves into a lot of things. There's infinite amount of excuses we can make why we can drink again. And if you're not in your own right mind and healing and staying in recovery and figuring yourself out, then you're setting yourself up for failure. It's not like something that's going to happen overnight. It's different for everyone. But I mean, there's also some things I was reading. It's just not good, you know. If you truly care and don't want to go back to that, I mean, you might want to look at that. There's some things from this book I've been reading. You know, the truth is that our best chance for recovery is just not doing drugs at all. 1, use of any drugs increases the likelihood of using our drug of choice. 2, cross addiction is likely to occur. 3, we do not learn from our experiences while we are using. 4, complete recovery requires total abstinence. 5, drugs numb or soothe our feelings and therefore interfere with our recovery. Like recovering alcoholics who smoke marijuana typically return to drinking. Heroin addicts are more likely to go out and try to score after drinking alcohol. You know, many recovering alcoholics relapse after receiving medications such as Vicodin, Valium, Xanax, or Klonopin. And there's just a lot, and that's that cross addiction. You know, another important thing to remember is a drug is a drug. Therefore, the use of any mind altering drug for the purpose of getting high is a relapse. And also, it says a delusion is a belief that is not supported by reality. The belief that we are in control when in reality we are not is delusional. The false perception is fostered by denial. Denial is a defense mechanism. It protects us from the truth, especially when the truth is painful. Are we in control? I mean, are you really in control if you still haven't given up other parts? Are you talking to anyone about this? Are you working any sort of program? It's very vital that you even have some sort of program. Just quitting drinking is not going to keep you sober. And especially if you've just replaced it with other things. I mean, you have to find someone to be talking to about it. You have to find someone that's in recovery. It just is, it is what it is. And I only say this because I've been through all this, and I just wish the best for everyone. And, you know, it's still going to be painful. The pain's not done. It's going to end painfully. You know, that's the truth of it, because you're going to do that recovery and you're going to figure out what's wrong, and you're going to go through some painful moments without your numbing medicine, and the pain comes before the healing. That's all I got for today. I hope that was good and you guys are having a good new year. Take care. Love you. Peace out.